Welcome back to Hannity as we continue now with 2016 Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump. You had the Quinnipiac poll. You're winning by 4 in Ohio. You're dead even in Pennsylvania and Florida. How do you interpret that poll?
Well, I think really good. We have to win Florida. I think I'll win Florida. I won Florida against Marco by a massive number. We had 20% victory. Everybody said, wow, that's incredible. That's a great state for me. And Pennsylvania, we just won massively, as you know, and I think we're going to win that against Hillary easily. She wants to put the miners and steel out of business, essentially. She wants the miners out of business. I think we're going to win Pennsylvania. And Ohio is a great state for me. Ohio is fantastic. I actually did very well in Ohio. We had a great number in Ohio.
And you went up against
recently.
the popular governor. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I did a very good job. If I would have been there for 2 more days, you would have seen. But we did a very good. We got a great number in Ohio.
You look at the Clinton. I don't know if you've ever seen years ago. They came out with the War Room, how the Clintons fought back in 1992 against George Herbert Walker Bush. Very insightful. Gives you some insight, by the way, into your friend George Stephanopoulos. I don't know if you've seen that, but we know about the Clinton machine. We know they play dirty. We know they'll say and do anything to get elected. Between that and the Washington Post announcing that they have put 20 people to dig into every single phase of your life, are you prepared for what's coming? It's not if it's coming, but when it's coming.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say that, because every hour we're getting calls from reporters from the Washington Post asking ridiculous questions. And I will tell you, this is owned as a toy by Jeff Bezos, who controls Amazon. Amazon is getting away with murder tax-wise. He's using the Washington Post for power so that the politicians in Washington don't tax Amazon like they should be taxed. He's getting absolutely away. He's worried about me, and I think he said that to somebody. It was in some article where he thinks I would go after him for antitrust, because he's got a huge antitrust problem because he's controlling so much. Amazon is controlling so much of what they're doing. And what they've done is he bought this paper for practically nothing, and he's using that as a tool for political power against me and against other people. And I'll tell you what, we can't let him get away with it. So he's got about 20, 25. I just heard they're taking these really bad stories. I mean, they're wrong. I don't even say bad. They're wrong. And in many cases, they have no proper information, and they're putting them together, they're slopping them together, and they're going to do a book. And the book is going to be all false stuff because the stories are so wrong. And the reporters, I mean, one after another. So what they're doing is he's using that as a political instrument to try and stop antitrust, which he thinks, I believe, he's antitrust. In other words, what he's got is a monopoly. And he wants to make sure I don't get in. So it's one of those things. But I'll tell you what, what he's doing is wrong. And the people are the whole system is rigged. You see a case like that. The whole system is rigged.
That's
whether
pretty
it's Hillary
corrupt. I think
or
that's a
whether
good
it's
point.
Bezos.
Yeah, well, you know.
No, he's using. He's using the Washington Post, which is peanuts. He's using that for political purposes to save Amazon in terms of taxes and in terms of antitrust.
Wow. Let me ask about Hillary. You commented about her being an enabler. You talked about the abuse of women. And, look, those women, I've interviewed Juanita Broaddrick, Paula Jones, Kathleen Willey, and a lot of other women. And they tell their stories. But more importantly, they tell about how they were smeared and slandered and besmirched when they did tell their stories. I haven't heard you talk a lot about the email server investigation. I haven't heard you talk a lot about the Clinton Foundation. Hillary says she's for women. The foundation took a lot of money from the Saudis, and I've never heard her criticize the Saudis' treatment of women. Is that because they bought her silence?
Well, I talk about the emails all the time. I mean, and what can you say? Does it get any more corrupt or crooked than that? And it looks like she's being protected. Otherwise, how would they let her go down the line this far? And just before she gets this phony nomination, you talk about a rig. I watch this guy, Bernie Sanders. I'm no fan of his, but I watch him win every night, and everybody says he can't win. He wins, he can't win, because she has these super delegates. So I'm talking about that all the time. The Clinton Foundation obviously is looking to me like it's got some big problems. If you read the book, if you see the movie that's coming out, I mean, the movie that's coming out is brutal from what I understand. So
I actually know all about it, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the emails all the time. Look, people have done like 2% of what she did, and they've destroyed their life over it. And what she's done with the emails is horrible. Now, I hear the man that set it up and set up the server has gone absolutely rogue. So let's see what happens. But I think she's got some big problems with that. I just don't know whether or not they'll prosecute.
Nearly half of Bernie Sanders' West Virginia voters say they will vote for you instead of Hillary. Hillary's warned her donors. Literally, they sent out an email the other night saying even if Bernie runs the table on the remaining states, the corrupt system of superdelegates gives it to Hillary. So she's doing very, very poorly here. I'll give you an example. Back in 2008, when she ran in West Virginia, she had 240,000 votes. She got less than 85,000. What do you make of how she can't close out this nomination on her side?
She's not a closer here. She wasn't a closer last time. She's not a closer with the Chinese for trade deals. She's not going to be a closer with ISIS. She destroyed us. She really hurt us with Libya. That's Benghazi. Not only that, ISIS has the oil now. They've gone and taken the oil. Libya was her baby, and that was a disaster. I mean, what she's done has been a disaster. She's not a closer. You know, the bottom line, whether it's the election or whether it's the election against Obama, you know, in terms of the primaries, she's just not a closer. This is not a woman that should be president. We have so much work to do. I don't think she has the energy to be president. I don't think she can do it. I don't think she can do it. But you see it right now. She cannot close the deal.
If you look at exit polls, in every state, same answer. Republicans feel betrayed by their own party. I think that's playing a very big part in how this election has played out. I guess the question is, there's been two moments, I think, where conservative policies have made America a better place. You talk about Ronald Reagan. I think that was one of the most recent examples. The other would be the contract with America. These promises that you make about the wall, about judges, about Obamacare, balancing the budget, about schools and energy and vets and the military and all these things, would it be a good idea to put it on paper and say to your fellow Republicans, we're going to do these things, sign the paper, promise the American people. They're tired of being lied to. They're tired of being betrayed, and sign it and say, this is my promise if you elect me.
I mean, I'd have no problem doing it. I'm going to do it with the judges because I think it would make people feel better, especially people, you know, certain people within the party that happen to be on the very conservative side. I think it would make them feel better. That's why I'm doing it. But I think everybody knows. First of all, Obamacare, it's gonna fall of its own weight. You know, in 17 it explodes. It's dead. Okay, it's dead. It is an absolute disaster. Unfortunately, let's say I'm president, I have to inherit this mess. But we hopefully will terminate it before it even explodes. But in 17, it's a disaster. Well, I'm going to do all these things. I could certainly put it in paper, but we have to do these things. We need the wall. You know, the 16,500 Border Patrol agents just endorsed me. First time they've ever endorsed a presidential candidate. And I went to them and I said, what about the wall? They said, Mr. Trump, we really need the wall. We're going to stop the drugs. We're going to stop the problems. Believe me, Sean.
All right. By the way, I hope when the 5 or 6, you said a couple I may not like, don't pick that person. Pick the guy that I would like, if you don't mind, on your VP list.
You're going to like.
The one that you pick, I want to like.
I think you're going to be very impressed.
All right.
No, I think you're going to be very impressed. We'll come up with the right final answer, believe me.
All right. Thank you, Donald Trump, the presumptive GOP nominee. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.